often do you ever, sit and watch Matt kind of uncork some bombs and punts out there?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. His nickname in college, I think everybody knows what it is. I saw something on Twitter though, try to keep him off the field, and he'll be the hold god, not the punt god, the hold god. So I saw that on Twitter. I thought that was pretty funny. Don't tell him I said that.
Punt God wins the job in Buffalo, and yeah, he may not be used very often. He may not have many opportunities to be the punt god for the Buffalo Bills if they play the way they're supposed to. So in honor of that awesome punt god nickname, we decided to do a draft today based upon NFL nicknames. Now, we weren't sure at first whether it was going to be all-time or current. Pete Demolitis suggested current, so my reaction was all-time, and he astutely pointed out, if I had said all-time, you would have said current. And Pete, you're absolutely right. Now you know how to handle me in the future. So, and you know what? Maybe he wanted all time. Maybe that was his way of getting it all time. But, I was thinking about it. I mean, I don't know what great nicknames there currently are.
There's not many, right?
Unfortunately, for a 3-round draft, there are a ton of great all-time nicknames. We'll get to that coming up. But for those of you who like it when we have a trivia question, good news.
Yep.
We have one.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Bad news. I probably have no idea what it is.
No, you're screwed on this one. You're screwed.
Right.
But it's a good one either way, just for information for the audience. What is Mac Jones' real name?
I mean, I've heard it before, but it didn't register. Like Marshall Mathers Jones. That's no. It's like McDaniel or McCorkle. I think it's like McCorkle something. I don't know.
We'll take it. It's Michael McCorkle Jones. Right.
All right.
McCorkle the Dorkle Jones.
Well, what a transformation he's had in 2 years from when he looked like Bobby Lane with an ill-fitting uniform at Alabama, and now he's a superhero. He's gone from Clark Kent, less than Clark Kent, to more than Superman in New England, at least in the estimation of the coaches there. All right, best nicknames of all time. And my God, I don't know where to start.
I know.
There are so many great nicknames. You probably won't take this one first, but the one that I remember when I was a kid that first struck me as a badass nickname, Ed Too Tall Jones.
Good one. Yeah.
72 for the Dallas Cowboys, boxed at one point.
Right.
But what a name. Too Tall Jones. It's as literal as it can be. Why do you call him that? Because he's too damn tall.
No
Ed
doubt.
Too Tall Jones.
I mean,
unbelievable nickname.
I experienced it just watching my dad going, damn, he's too tall. Dad keeps getting the ball batted in the air, and they intercept it. It's unreal. But, yeah, that definitely is one that I had written down as well. An all-time great player for that Cowboy football team, Ed Too Tall Jones, big number 72. Definite legend right there. All right. The Assassin. The Assassin's one that I love with Jack Tatum. Just fit the mold for a guy that was going to, crush you over the middle and played for a team that just kind of embodied that with the Raiders and their attitude and take no crap, take no prisoners type of attitude. So that's one that I remember hearing that when I was a young guy going, man, the Assassin, who the hell is this guy? Whoa, 32 on the Raiders. That's amazing. So I'll throw that one out there to give him a little love.
Back in the mid-'70s when Saturday Night Live launched on NBC, and I was too young to watch it because there's some you're not in the demographic and it's more of an adult show, but I watched it from the get-go, and I loved it. And they called the cast of characters the not ready for primetime players. And I remember not knowing what the words primetime meant. I was too young to understand that primetime's 8 to 11. And I say all that, obviously, because my next pick is William the Refrigerator Perry. No, it's primetime. Because every time that I heard, every time I think back to the original cast of SNL, but that just is the perfect nickname, Deion Primetime Sanders. There's only one guy that's ever earned it. There's only one guy that'll ever have it, and it's just perfect. And you instantly envision the dance he would do when he'd score a touchdown, him blazing past everyone early in his career. We got used to it. We got used to his greatness.
Yes.
It was so stunning early in his career that we couldn't process it.
I'm mad you took that one. I didn't think you were going to go there. I thought you were going to, stay with the older generation. Damn you. But you're right. This to me is definitely one of the best. I wanted to pick that one. I was just trying to give somebody else some love. I think that's the greatest nickname ever. You know you're great when you have two one-word names that, like, everybody knows you're right. When you just say Deion, you know it's, oh, Deion Sanders. Or you say Prime. They don't even say Prime Time. They just go Prime. He got so much, and he started calling himself Prime. I mean, there was nothing like him. He was can't miss TV there for an 8-year period where it was just like, wow, can anybody in football be as electric and run like this guy? One of the fastest in the history of the game. So, yeah, I'm with you there. I think the next one I'll go with is Sweetness. I mean, Sweetness with Walter Payton, sometimes the obvious ones are just the best ones. And he was so special. He was like poetry in motion and just so sweet with how he ran. He did a little of the high step run too, like Deion did, right? He could do that. And then he wasn't so sweet when he lowered the shoulder and knocked your ass out a little bit too. So there was a little spice to that sweetness as well. And I mean, Walter Payton, of course, one of the greatest of all time, and love watching old highlights of him.
You know that you're good when you carry the ball all wrong.
Right, like Deion, too, in one hand, right?
And nobody says anything about it.
No doubt.
Like, certain
doubt.
players, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Walter Payton, you can get away with holding the ball out there.
Yes.
It's just phenomenal. And you mentioned the highlights. This will take some of the audience back to the 70s. On the NFL Today on CBS, which Phil Simms has been a fixture on for years now, but they would do like a montage of highlights set to some song. And I remember they did Carly Simon's Nobody Does It Better with Walter Payton, and they'd have the, slow motion and you're just like, this is unbelievable. The brilliance of Walter Payton. At a time when football was far more rough and tumble, he had a grace and a speed and just an ease about his game that was very uncommon. It was, 3 yards in a cloud of dust back in the 70s for the most part. All right. I mentioned William the Refrigerator Perry, and I mean, that's the first thing I think of with the 85 Bears, especially since he took away Walter Payton's touchdown in Super Bowl 20. But it wasn't his decision. But that was just such a phenomenon that year, and I know that wasn't good for young Christopher Simms and his New York Giants, but that was just a year where everything just fell right, and they were phenomenal. And I thought they were going to win 3 straight Super Bowls. I thought, just get used to the Bears being great indefinitely. It's amazing they only won 1, but the moment they started putting big old 72
that's amazing
in the backfield, and started giving them the football, it just made the season fun. We love those things that pop up from time to time organically that just make it fun, and that made 1985 fun.
Yeah, that was a special team, special cast of characters. They had their own song. Jim McMahon was not your traditional quarterback. He was kind of crazy and controversial, and man, that defense, Richard Dent and everybody, Mike Singletary, holy cow, that's right. They were unreal. It is kind of amazing that the NFC was just so damn good. It was just, gosh, it was amazing. To me, it's the golden age of football to a degree. Wow, I don't even know where to go here. Because I mean, you got Broadway Joe. Of course, that's awesome. Megatron, Mean Joe Green. I'm going to give one guy some love that I just loved growing up in like my heyday. The Nigerian Nightmare. I mean, that's one where Christian Okoye with big 35 and the huge neck roll and just like, you talk about fun. That was fun when he was kind of in his prime, because he was like, oh my gosh, look at this big sucker running the ball. Nobody can tackle him, and he's lowering the shoulder and crushing everybody. And really, no one ever got the best of him until Monday Night Football with Steve Atwater, right? Remember that? I can still remember watching that going, oh my gosh, somebody just knocked the Nigerian Nightmare on his butt, like big time. That was like a shocking moment, but a great nickname. It really was, and not to say the other ones wasn't, but I just wanted to give that a little love.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.